Maccarinelli joins us today. Lot to talk about, Enzo. Firstly, I've got to ask you this. This weekend, fascinating fight. Alexander Usyk against Derek Chisora. We know how brilliant Usyk is, amateur and professional. Can he give away 2.5, 3 stone to Derek Chisora and win?
Yes, he can. He is that good. But you know, an undoubted talent. The way he throws his feints, the way he puts the pressure on without actually doing anything. Just he mentally drains you when you're in that ring with him. But in Derek Chisora, you've got someone like you said, 3 stone heavier. He's going to come at him, and this is going to show us where Usyk is going to fit in the heavyweight division, because you know he looked uncomfortable sometimes against Witherspoon in his last fight, but again, you know, he knew he was going to go in there. He knew he was going to do pretty much what he wanted, and he did. So you know, you put that into account. You know, maybe he didn't take Witherspoon's threat seriously, which he had rightfully so, because he is that good. In Derek Chisora, he's fighting a man who's built up a bit of steam. Knows it's probably his last big chance on the big stage. 3 stone heavier, but then in Alexander Usyk, the brain capacity, the mental aspect of his game, he's outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, how do you think Chisora's looked in them 3 fights since he lost to Dillian White? He had the fight with Gashi which wasn't great, and then he's had the Spitzka and Price wins.
But the Price win, I expected him. I think I always knew Price would fold under that sort of pressure, or someone like Derek Chisora. Still had that punch, and I think he caught Derek once or twice, and David Price can it hard. But the Spitzka win, you know, that out of the blue, I didn't expect that one. He just jumped on him. Then I see people saying that, you know, that's the last southpaw he boxed, and there's a massive difference between Spitzka and Alexander Usyk as a southpaw. Spitzka stands in front of you, he stands square on. Usyk is just all over the place. He's feinting with his feet, he's feinting with his arms, he's feinting with his head movement. He's pretty much keeping you occupied the entire time the fight lasts.
So what's your prediction?
I think Dell's going to make it uncomfortable for a few rounds. I think he's going to go at him. You know, he can't stand off him. He can't box. My prediction, as in, I like Derek and I love Derek to win, but my prediction would be, I think Dell's going to make it uncomfortable for 3 or 4 rounds, maybe 5. Usyk's going to get his rhythm going, get his groove going, start hurting Derek, and maybe a late stoppage. I hope I'm wrong, but that's what I'm seeing.
Have you ever had a fight where you fought a much bigger person, and for the early stages they've been throwing you around, and you thought, God, what's this I've got hold of here? Have you ever had a fight like that? Because that's what could happen to Usyk early doors, certainly.
Well, so you know, totally different levels. I remember boxing as an amateur. I think it was my 5th senior fight. I was 13 stone 10. My dad put me in with Darren Morgan.
Oh God, almighty, yeah.
At the time, he was 21.5 stone, and he literally just run across the ring at me, pinned me in a corner. I just tucked up nice and tight. As soon as he started firing, I was lucky I caught him with that left hook and put him over. Another one then, I boxed, let me think of the name now, Ernie Forsey phoned me up. He phoned me up on a Saturday night. He said, do you fancy fighting Tuesday? I said, yeah, I'll fight Tuesday. He said, guy's a little bit heavier than Simon James, but not too much.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess the Yoko Bethnal agreed on the Tuesday now. I'm looking around someone a little bit bigger. I said, Ernie, I said, where's this Simon James? He said, who's Simon James? He said, Simon James Gilbert, he said.
Oh.
I said, well, where is he? He said, he's over there. 70.5 stone. I think he was the heavyweight champion of Zimbabwe at the time. He said, yeah, he'll be all right. He said, so first round come out, he hit me with a right hand. You know, you could feel the power of that extra 3 stone. And he kept punching and punching. So literally put my hands up nice and tight. He hit me about 30 shots. I blocked them all. He pulled back and he sort of took a deep inhale of breath. I knew the fight was over then. I finished him in a second. But, you know, it's that extra weight with someone like Derek Chisora. and he uses it wisely. I got a funny feeling he's just going to come marauding in. Usyk's not known for his one punch power, so I think he's going to have to weather an early storm by Derek Chisora.
And there is a cruiserweight fight on the bill. Tommy McCarthy against Lagoon for the EBU title. How do you see that fight going?
I haven't seen too much of the opponent, but I see Tom McCarthy. He had a good win, last couple of wins, especially the one in Italy.
Yeah.
He boxing well. He's a likeable character, and the British cruiserweight scene's bouncing at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, talking of cruiserweights, I bet you wish you was very active at the moment with these WBC putting it back to 13-8. You'll be in there tomorrow, wouldn't you?
Oh, 100%. I look back and, obviously 14 stone 4 didn't suit me at all, but I won a world title, so I can't complain. But the jump up from 13-8 to 14-4 had to be addressed a long time ago, and I don't think WBC have done it right. I think what I'm hearing is they're cancelling the 200-pound division and dropping it down to 190. Which where does that leave the champion Makabu? I think they needed that extra weight class rather than cutting away the 200-pound division completely.
Yeah, and your big danger is there also with this new 16-stone division, whatever they're going to call this, junior heavyweight, super cruiserweight, whatever. You're going to get guys that are 16-6, 16-7, boiling down to that, and beating and fighting men who are naturally 14 stone, aren't you? I mean, people like Usyk's made for it. Even older.
But like I said about Makabu, he's going to have to. He's not a massive cruiserweight, but he couldn't make. I think he'd struggle to make the 190.
Yeah.
But then 14-4 to put him up into the other weight, he's just going to be too small. So I think the weight class from light heavyweight to cruiserweight had to be addressed a long time ago. I think 12-7 to 14 stone 4 is a ridiculous jumping weight for safety of fighters. Like you said, boys are going to be boiling down. When I was a cruiserweight 14-4, I was regularly fighting people coming in at 14-4, but on fight night they were in 15-4, where I was still 13-8. So I just think the weight in between was the one that needed to be addressed.
Yeah. Right. And Enzo, I've got to ask about yourself before we let you go. I mean, you haven't boxed for, is it 3-4 years? I think you're out. Is it 3 or 4 years you've been out now?
4, I think.
4 years out now. I mean, what are your plans? I know you keep in tremendous shape. There's a lot of people on Twitter I see thanking you because you're motivating them. I see you running through forests, see you in the gym sparring. What's the situation with you right now? Because I know you haven't retired, have you?
Well, I think I would have done it last year. If I didn't have the back injury and the loss of my brother, just put me in a dark place, and I couldn't run, I couldn't walk. I found a good physio on Anthony Carter. He got me on the right road, and I would have done it a long time ago. Now there's a new arena in Swansea opening in the summer, so in an ideal world, Steve, get a couple of fights. Get something big, Swansea Arena. Who else can open the arena but Swansea's only ever world champion? And that's an ideal world, and I'd love to fight again. I got such a desire in me. I'm fit, I'm strong, I'm eating clean, I'm living right. But on the other hand, I've got so much going on. I run an amateur club. I do a bit of property. My kids are growing up, so I've got things to keep my mind active. And the problem with retired fighters who the limelight's taken away from them, they've got nothing else to do. And I think something should be put in place for them, because it's a lonely sport, and it's even lonely when you finish as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not. I mean, I speak to you often, and I know it's certainly not limelight for you, is it, that you're missing? I think you're just getting in the ring and having a fight.
Mate, it was just, I always get talked to Enzo, so approachable, and, he never forgot where he come from. I only did it because I loved it. It was nothing to do with me. It was nothing to do with fame, nothing to do with money. I remember Frank Warren in GQ magazine said, of all the fighters he's had, Enzo was my favourite. And it's because I caused no problems. He offered me a purse. I took it. When I look back, I could have negotiated. I could have made double what I did. But I literally went in. Yeah, you have this for this fight. You have that for that fight. Yeah, no problem. it was all about just competing for me. And I've been like that since a young age, and nothing was ever gonna get my focus off what I loved.
And just show us your coffee mug again, because I've got to mention Roy Jones Jr. Now I think he's on your coffee mug there.
One of the boys, Oliver, did cut. Trying to get in my good books, give him a couple of easy sessions. He said, whenever you're feeling down in the morning, you can always say you beat Roy Jones.
And what do you think, Roy Jones? What's going to happen when he fights Mike Tyson? Are they going to have an exhibition? Are they going to go for it? What do you see happening?
It's not going to be an exhibition. I think these two men, them, Steve, and you're in 12-ounce gloves, no head guards. That's not an exhibition. And people ask my views and ask me to criticise what they're doing. Look, unless you've been in the limelight, unless you've been, that sort of mentality where you've got up and trained twice a day, every day for 20 years, and all of a sudden it's taken away from you, and it's literally eating at them. This isn't for money. I don't think this is for money. I'm sure they're going to get paid well, but I don't think this is for money. Tyson's making a mint with his cannabis companies. He's making a mint. I think Roy Johnson's short of a few quid. And I think this is just the desire to compete. And my view of it, the two fighters, well past their best, well past their best. Are they going and fighting these young, hungry fighters? No, they fighting each other. As long as they pass all the medicals, as long as they pass the MRI scans, the doctors, the eye tests, I got no problem with them two fighting each other. The feed they desire to compete again. And it's, people are going to listen to me now thinking, oh, they're stupid and all that. And unless you've done it, unless you've been there, unless you've lived the life as a fighter, most fighters who retire will understand where I'm coming from. Unless you've lived that life, you don't realise what they're missing, what sort of desire they have to just put on a show once again.
Is there a danger if it is a great success and it does pay-per-view figures and money comes rolling in, that it could spiral out of control, this circuit, and you get guys coming in for a few quid who shouldn't be there, who just need the money?
Yeah, and that's the problem. I'm hearing Mike Tyson's offering an ex-fighters league. I don't know which way it's going to work, and hopefully it's going to be all medical, and it's all going to be round about the same age limits and same weight, and it's going to be done properly. But that like you said is going to be the argument against it, where I think these two are in there because they've always had a bit of a thing with each other, who's going to win and all that. I hope people don't come in just look for a quick buck just because they got no money, they've spent their earnings, which has happened to a lot of fighters, and then injuries start to happen, then things start to go wrong.
If they go hell for leather, who do you think wins it?
Say again, sorry?
Who do you think wins it if they go hell for leather?
I think Roy. I think Roy. He's only been retired 3 years. He's been active. I'm Mike Tyson, him and Holyfield, Mike Tyson's biggest fan. Him and Holyfield, and I'd love to see him turn back the clock. I'd love to see him, but you've got to remember what he was 15 years ago.
Kevin McBride beat him.
Yeah, but not so much. I just quit. And before that, I think the Brian Nielsen fight, I think he was ready to quit. And then the Danny Williams one. You've got to remember what he was 15 years. I know he was in a better mental state now than he is then. He seems to be with all the ganji smoking. But I've got to say, Roy Jones, I think he's just going to be more active. And you look at these clips of Tyson on the pads. Yes, he looks ferocious. Yes, he looks fast. But they're like minute clips. Like I've seen things on Twitter about we sort of say the casual fans that he could walk in there with any heavyweight champion now and right before. No, he couldn't. Don't get me wrong. You got if it's a 3-minute fight, he's got a chance against anyone. Any longer than that, he hasn't got a chance to any of them. And people who watch boxing and the nostalgia of him coming back the way he was, as ferocious he was, it's not going to be there. And I just hope it's going to be a good fight. No one gets injured. They shake hands at the end of it and go their separate ways.
Enzo, thanks very much indeed for joining us today. You always got good things to say. You always got an opinion. And let's hope we see you back on TV soon doing your punditry work. BT, Sky, here's your man you should be going to.
No one asks me, Steve. No one asks me.
For all boxing info, news and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.